Welcome to today's video. Have you ever felt like your problems are just too big to handle? Like no matter what you do, nothing seems to get better? What if I told you that the God who created the universe is not only fully aware of your struggles, but is actively working to fix them? The Bible teaches us that we serve a God who specializes in the impossible. He has the power to untangle even the messiest situations, and he's already moving on your behalf. So take a deep breath and let go of the worry. God will fix it for you. Number 1, God's unwavering commitment to fix your situation. God is deeply invested in your life. He is not a distant observer, watching from afar as you navigate life's challenges. Instead, he is a loving father who cares about every detail of your journey. When you face difficulties, he is right there with you, ready to provide the strength and guidance you need to overcome. God's involvement in your life is personal and intentional. He promises to be with you, to support you, and to carry you through every obstacle. The Bible is filled with assurances of God's unwavering commitment to his people. One such promise is found in Isaiah 41:10, where God says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." This verse is a powerful reminder that God is not only present in your life, but is also actively working to uphold you in every situation. He does not want you to live in fear or despair, but in the confidence that he is your ever-present help. When you're in the midst of a trial, it can be easy to feel isolated or overwhelmed, but it's important to remember that God doesn't just fix problems from a distance. He steps into the fire with you, just as he did with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. In the book of Daniel, these 3 men faced a literal furnace, yet God was with them in the flames, protecting them and ultimately delivering them. This same God is with you in your fiery trials, ensuring that you are not consumed by them. God's commitment to fixing your situation isn't about quick fixes or temporary solutions. It's about a deep, transformative work in your life. He sees the bigger picture and knows exactly what you need to grow, to heal, and to thrive. Sometimes the process might be longer than you'd like, but trust that God's timing is perfect. He is at work, even in ways you cannot see, preparing a way for your deliverance. So take heart. No matter what you're facing, remember that God is committed to you. His promises are sure. His power is limitless, and his love for you is unfailing. Keep your eyes on him and trust that he is working all things together for your good. God will fix it for you, and he will do it in a way that brings glory to his name and growth to your soul. Number 2, God's perfect timing in fixing your problems. In our fast-paced world, we often desire instant solutions to our problems. When faced with challenges, it's natural to want God to step in immediately and fix everything. However, God's timing is different from ours, and it is always perfect. He knows precisely when to intervene and when to allow situations to unfold in a way that serves a greater purpose. Though it may be difficult to wait, trust that God's timing is designed to bring about the best possible outcome for your life. The Bible teaches us that there is a season and a purpose for everything under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1-11 reminds us, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. He has made everything beautiful in its time. This scripture highlights the truth that God is not bound by our sense of urgency. Instead, he operates within his divine timeline, orchestrating events in our lives with precision and wisdom. Even when we don't understand why there is a delay, we can trust that God is making everything beautiful in its appointed time. One of the most profound examples of God's perfect timing is found in the story of Lazarus. When Lazarus fell ill, his sisters, Mary and Martha, sent word to Jesus, hoping for an immediate healing. But instead of rushing to their aid, Jesus delayed his arrival. By the time he reached Lazarus, 4 days had passed, and Lazarus had already died. To those present, it seemed like Jesus was too late, but his delay was intentional, setting the stage for a greater miracle. Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, demonstrating God's power over life and death, and glorifying God in a way that an immediate healing would not have. God's timing is not just about fixing the problem at hand. It's about working in our hearts and lives in the process. The waiting period can be a time of growth, refinement, and preparation for what's to come. While it may feel uncomfortable, it's in these moments that our faith is stretched, our character is developed, and our trust in God is deepened. He is not only fixing your problem, but also shaping you into the person He created you to be. So be encouraged. If you're waiting on God to fix something in your life, remember that His timing is perfect. He sees the end from the beginning, and He knows exactly when to act. Like Lazarus, your situation may seem beyond hope, but God is never late. He is preparing you for a greater miracle, one that will not only resolve your current problem, but will also bring glory to His name and deepen your faith. Trust in His timing and know that He is making everything beautiful in its time. Number 3, God's power to fix what seems unfixable. There are times in life when we face problems that seem utterly insurmountable, situations so tangled and broken that they appear beyond repair. In those moments, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and defeated, thinking that there's no way out. But here's the truth: no problem is too big for God. He specializes in the impossible, turning around what seems hopeless and restoring what seems lost. When we reach the end of our own abilities, that's when God steps in with His limitless power. The Bible reassures us of God's ability to do the impossible. In Luke 1:37, we read, "For with God, nothing will be impossible." This powerful declaration is a reminder that there is no situation too dire, no circumstance too complicated for God to resolve. He is the creator of the universe, the one who spoke everything into existence, and He holds all power in His hands. When you bring your seemingly unfixable problems to Him, you're placing them in the hands of the Almighty, who is more than capable of bringing about a solution. One of the most striking examples of God's power to fix what seems unfixable is found in the story of the man at the pool of Bethesda. This man had been paralyzed for 38 years, unable to walk and seemingly without hope. Day after day, he lay by the pool, waiting for a miracle that never came, until Jesus arrived. With just a word, Jesus healed him instantly, commanding him to pick up his mat and walk. What had been impossible for nearly 4 decades was resolved in a moment by the power of God. This story serves as a powerful reminder that no situation is too broken for God to fix. When you're faced with challenges that seem beyond repair, remember that God's power knows no limits. He doesn't just patch up the broken pieces, He makes all things new. Whether it's a relationship that's falling apart, a financial crisis, or a health issue that feels hopeless, God is able to intervene in ways that defy human logic and understanding. He can bring healing, restoration, and breakthrough where there seemed to be no way. So take heart and hold on to faith. Your situation may seem unfixable, but nothing is impossible for God. Just as he healed the man at the pool of Bethesda, he can step into your life and bring about a miraculous change. Don't give up hope. Trust in God's power and watch as he turns your impossible situation into a testimony of his greatness and love. Number 4, trust in God's plan beyond what you can see. Sometimes in life, we become so focused on our immediate problems that we overlook the bigger picture. We want quick fixes and instant relief, but God's plan often goes beyond just solving the present issue. He's not only interested in fixing your situation, he's deeply invested in transforming you through the process. God works on your heart, builds your character, and prepares you for greater things that you might not even see yet. His plan is comprehensive and perfect, encompassing not just your current struggles, but also your future purpose and growth. The Bible encourages us to view our trials through the lens of faith and perseverance. In James 1:2-4, we are told, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." These verses remind us that God uses challenges to develop our faith and build our character. The difficulties you face are not just obstacles, they are opportunities for growth. God is more concerned with who you are becoming through the process than with the speed at which your problems are resolved. One powerful example of trusting God's plan beyond what we can see is found in the life of Joseph. Sold into slavery by his brothers, falsely accused and imprisoned, Joseph's life seemed to be a series of misfortunes. Yet, through it all, God was at work. Each trial Joseph endured was preparing him for a future role that would not only save his family, but also impact an entire nation. When Joseph was finally elevated to a position of influence in Egypt, it became clear that every challenge he faced had a purpose in God's grand plan. What seemed like setbacks were actually setups for something far greater. It's important to remember that your current struggles may be preparing you for something significant. Like Joseph, you might be in a season of difficulty, wondering why God hasn't fixed things yet. But trust that he is working behind the scenes, shaping you for the plans he has for you. God's timing and methods may not always align with our expectations, but they are always perfect. He sees the end from the beginning and knows exactly what you need to fulfill the purpose he has for your life. So as you face your challenges, trust in God's plan beyond what you can see. Know that he is working not just to fix your problems, but to transform you through them. He is building your faith, strengthening your character, and preparing you for the blessings and opportunities that lie ahead. Keep your eyes on him and let his perfect plan unfold in your life. Now, number 5, God's joy in fixing your brokenness. When life breaks you down, it's easy to think that God is just tolerating you, fixing your problems out of duty or obligation. But that couldn't be further from the truth. God doesn't just fix your problems because he has to. He does it because he delights in you. He takes great joy in restoring you and making you whole again. His love for you is so deep that he rejoices in your healing, finding pleasure in every step you take toward wholeness. Imagine a father tenderly caring for his child, not out of necessity, but out of pure, unconditional love. That's how God feels about you. Zephaniah 3:17 beautifully captures this truth. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In his love, he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. This verse reminds us that God is not a distant or indifferent deity. He is a loving Father and a mighty warrior who not only saves, but also takes great delight in doing so. He doesn't just want to see you survive. He wants to see you thrive, and he rejoices in the process of bringing you back to a place of strength and peace. God's joy in fixing your brokenness is a profound expression of his love for you. He isn't just concerned with mending the external aspects of your life. He's also focused on healing your heart, your mind, and your spirit. When he restores you, it's not just about solving problems. It's about renewing your entire being. Every time he lifts you from despair, every time he heals your wounds, he does so with a heart full of joy. This joy isn't just a fleeting emotion. It's a deep, abiding pleasure that comes from seeing his beloved children restored to the fullness of life he intended for them. Think about the parable of the lost sheep. When the shepherd finds the one sheep that was lost, he doesn't simply bring it back with a sense of duty. He rejoices, calls his friends and neighbors, and celebrates the restoration of the one who was lost. That's how God feels when he fixes the broken parts of your life. Every time you are healed, every time you are restored, God is not just pleased. He is overjoyed. He sings over you with love, rejoicing in the victory of bringing you back to wholeness. So, as you journey through life's challenges, remember that God is not just willing to fix your brokenness. He is eager and joyful in doing so. His love for you is so great that he takes delight in every moment of your restoration. Let this truth encourage you and fill you with hope. No matter how broken you feel, God's joy in fixing your life is a powerful reminder that you are deeply loved and cherished by the one who made you. Number 6, the power of faith and prayer in inviting God's intervention. Prayer is a powerful tool that allows us to connect with God and invite his divine intervention in our lives. It's not just a ritual or a habit. Prayer is the key that unlocks the door to God's miraculous work. When you come before God in prayer, filled with faith, you are opening the way for him to move in ways that are beyond your imagination. Prayer isn't about trying to convince God to do something. It's about aligning your heart with his will and believing that he is more than able to address your needs. Mark 11:24 emphasizes the incredible power of faith-filled prayer. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. This verse challenges us to approach God with confidence and trust, knowing that he hears our prayers and is eager to respond. The key here is belief. When you pray, do so with the conviction that God is already at work, even if you can't see it yet. Faith isn't just a hope or a wish. It's a deep-seated trust in God's ability and willingness to act on your behalf. Faith and prayer go hand in hand. When you pray with faith, you're not just speaking words into the air. You're making a bold declaration of trust in God's promises. This kind of prayer invites God to intervene in ways that may seem impossible to us. It's about more than just asking for what you need. It's about believing that God can and will provide in ways that surpass our understanding. The power of faith-filled prayer is not in the words themselves, but in the heart that believes God is faithful and true to his word. God delights in our prayers and is moved by our faith. He is a loving Father who desires to give good gifts to his children, and prayer is how we communicate our needs, desires, and hopes to him. But prayer is also about listening, being open to how God might lead you, guide you, and work in your life. When you pray with faith, you're not just seeking answers, you're seeking God's presence, and in that presence, miracles can happen. So approach God with expectancy in your heart. Believe that He can do more than you can ask or think. Trust that your prayers are powerful and that God is more than able to intervene in your situation. As you pray, remember that you are not alone. God is with you, ready to move mountains on your behalf. The power of faith and prayer is a reminder that no matter how big your challenges are, God is bigger, and He is always listening, ready to act in response to your faith. Number 7, testimonies of God's miraculous fixes. Throughout history, God has proven time and again that He is the ultimate fixer of hopeless situations. Testimonies of His miraculous interventions remind us that what He did for others, He can do for us as well. These stories aren't just ancient tales. They are powerful reminders that God is actively working in the lives of those who trust Him. When we hear how God has turned around impossible situations, our faith is strengthened, and we are encouraged to believe that He will do the same for us. Consider the story of the woman with the issue of blood. For 12 long years she suffered, having spent all she had on doctors who could not heal her. Yet in one moment of desperate faith, when she touched the hem of Jesus' garment, she was instantly healed. Mark 5:25-34. Her story is a powerful testimony that no matter how long you've been struggling or how hopeless your situation seems, God can bring about a miraculous change in an instant. Another testimony is that of the widow of Zarephath. Facing starvation, she was down to her last bit of flour and oil when the prophet Elijah asked her to make him a meal first. Despite her desperate circumstances, she obeyed in faith, and God miraculously provided for her and her son throughout the famine. 1 Kings 17:8-16. This story shows that even in the bleakest of times, God's provision is unfailing when we step out in faith and trust Him with what little we have. The transformation of Saul into Paul is perhaps one of the most dramatic testimonies of God's ability to fix what seems beyond repair. Saul was a fierce persecutor of Christians, but after an encounter with Jesus on the road to Damascus, his life was completely turned around. He became one of the greatest apostles, spreading the gospel far and wide. Acts 9:1-22. Saul's story is a powerful reminder that no one is beyond God's reach, and He can take the most broken of lives and use them for His glory. These testimonies are not just historical accounts. They are living proof of God's power to fix and restore. The same God who healed the woman, provided for the widow, and transformed Saul is the God who is at work in your life today. These stories should fill you with hope, reminding you that God's power to fix is not limited to the past. It's available to you right now, in whatever situation you're facing. So let these testimonies encourage you. God is still in the business of fixing what seems unfixable. No matter how impossible your circumstances may appear, know that God is able to intervene, to heal, to provide, and to transform. What He has done for others, He can do for you. All you need to do is trust Him, have faith, and watch as He works in your life. Number 8, surrendering to God's fixing power. Surrendering to God's fixing power involves more than just asking for help. It means giving up control and trusting Him with every aspect of your life. True surrender is about letting go of your own plans and strategies and allowing God to take the lead. It's about recognizing that His ways are higher than ours and that He knows exactly what we need and when we need it. By surrendering, you invite God's perfect will into your situation, trusting that He will handle it far better than you could on your own. Proverbs 3:5, 6 guides us in this process of surrender. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. This passage encourages us to fully trust God and submit our plans to him. It reminds us that when we stop relying on our own limited perspective and instead place our faith in God's wisdom, he will guide us and make our paths clear. Surrendering means embracing this promise and believing that God's direction is always for our good. Surrender can be challenging, especially when we feel the urge to take control and manage things on our own. However, this is where true faith is tested. By letting go of the need to micromanage every detail, you allow God the space to work miracles in your life. It's about trusting him with the outcome, knowing that his plan is always for your benefit and his glory. Just as a skilled artist works with a blank canvas, God can create something beautiful and purposeful when we step aside and let him. Encouragement comes from the assurance that God's power is at work, even when we can't see it. When you surrender, you are not abandoning hope, but aligning yourself with God's will, which is always perfect and loving. His fixing power is not limited by our understanding or our timing. It is beyond measure and perfectly suited to our needs. By releasing control, you make room for God's transformative power to operate in your life. Remember, surrender is not a sign of weakness, but an act of profound trust. Allowing God to take control means you are confident in his ability to handle your problems in a way that is best for you. As you let go and trust in his fixing power, you open yourself up to the incredible possibilities of his work in your life. Trust in his plan and watch as he brings about solutions that exceed your expectations and reveals his perfect will in your life. In conclusion, as we conclude, remember that surrendering to God's fixing power opens the door to miracles beyond our imagination. His unwavering commitment, perfect timing, and boundless power are at work in your life, transforming even the most challenging situations. Trust in his plan, embrace his joy, and rely on the power of faith and prayer to invite his intervention. By surrendering control and leaning into his promises, you align yourself with the divine plan that exceeds any problem you face. Trust God, for he is always at work, ready to fix what seems unfixable and bring about his perfect will in your life.